Where's Oleksandr Usyk, the rabbit? Hey, rabbit! Usyk, you're next, little bit.
Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, two of the most accomplished boxers in their prime, are set to compete for all the championship belts and the title of the baddest man on the planet. But who will emerge victorious? Let's find out. Language of facts. To start, Tyson Fury boasts an impressive record of 33-0, while Oleksandr Usyk has a record of 20-0. Based on their professional records, Fury seems to have more experience, but actually, he does not. When considering their amateur records, Usyk's 335 wins and 15 losses surpass Fury's 31 wins and 4 losses. Additionally, Usyk's opponents have an overall record of 454 wins and 78 losses, compared to Fury's opponents, who have a record of 573 wins and 185 losses. Although Fury's opponents were more elite fighters, Usyk has more fight experience. But as we know, skills speak louder than numbers, so let's move on. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's footwork is the first thing that stands out about him.
Really stepping inside that right hand.
Good work from Fury. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
His style stems from his physical attributes. He looks awkward and moves strangely, but this is not a disadvantage. Instead, it's the reason why Tyson is so good. These movements are too uncomfortable for opponents to handle, as they are unique to the Fury family. Tyson adopted his father's style, who also moves strangely and jerky, often winning because of it. But Fury developed his style further by adding feints and crazy footwork, essentially perfecting his father's style. Fury's feints are seemingly endless, and from the moment he takes his stance, he's constantly jerking his head, legs, and arms to set up openings. In each fight, he starts off by using his jab to build momentum. He throws a lot of feints and strikes to the opponent's guard, all to set the tempo and then throw a lead hook after the feint when the opponent tries to defend against the jab. From there, he develops his attacks with powerful punches. If the opponent is too aggressive, Fury quickly employs slips with steps and punches to trap them from a different angle. It's almost impossible to hit Fury. He combines many different types of blocks, and when the opponent gets close, he uses shoulder rolls very successfully, given his developed reflexes. When he maintains distance, he uses a long guard, which takes into account his huge reach and doesn't allow opponents to get too close to him. However, it's not as easy as it appears. For instance, his younger brother, Tommy, tries to use the long guard too, but often misses overhands because of it. There's a difference in levels of using each technique, and Fury is a master of them all. Fury always applies this pattern of actions, taking into account the specifics of each opponent, and always succeeds. The more responses Fury gets from the opponent, the more he evades, runs around the ring, and just enjoys himself. All his dodges, lowered hands. It's Tyson's natural style, not a mathematical calculation like that of someone like Gervonta Davis, who potentially looks for a knockout opportunity. It's instincts. The only drawback of this fighting style is its reliance on the fighter's age. As Fury ages, his reflexes and instincts may begin to fail him. Nevertheless, what's fascinating is how Tyson applies pressure. He utilizes his weight to move forward, cutting angles and limiting his opponent's space. One of the most notable instances of this was during his fight with Wilder, who is known to be one of the best pressure boxers in this weight class. Wilder is primarily a one-punch fighter, but even for that, he needs space, which Tyson took from him every time. Fury made him walk and cross his feet, which was the primary reason Tyson emerged victorious. When a boxer crosses their feet, they cannot deliver a powerful punch because their foot position determines the strength of their punch. Thus, when Deontay moved like that, there was no danger, and his straight was neutralized. Following that, Tyson attacked Fury relentlessly, changing his stance in the process, which let him strike his opponent from various angles. So, the foundation of any pressure fighting is footwork, and everything else, including the pressure of weight in the clinch, body movement, and so on, is built on top of it. However, movement is the essential aspect. Fury's entire style relies on speed and reflexes, but what happens when his opponent is quicker? In the bout with Otto Wallin, Fury had a tough time employing his strengths since Otto repeatedly targeted Tyson's body, was faster, and more effective. He was one of the few opponents who was genuinely quick that Fury had ever faced. With his aggressive pressure, Wallin gave Tyson no room to maneuver. There was no time for feints, and Wallin didn't let him create any openings, constantly pressuring him with punches. Despite the fact that Fury managed to turn the tide of the match and control the tempo by intimidating his adversary with power, Oleksandr Usyk is superior to Wallin in all aspects. Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk's style is unique because he pays tribute to the old-school USSR boxing style. When we think of USSR boxers, we're immediately recalling their unusual jumping footwork and classical 1-2 combination. Ukrainian boxers like Usyk and Lomachenko have built upon and diversified these techniques, utilizing different angles in both defense and attack, leading to more effective strikes. Usyk's style is categorized by his agility and light footwork, making him the most nimble heavyweight fighter since the days of Muhammad Ali. Unlike many fighters who have signature strikes or combinations, Usyk sacrifices his boxing identity for the practical use of his arsenal. He carefully selects each strike, like a key to unlock his opponent's weaknesses. For instance, the jab is necessary to close the opponent's view and measure the distance, preventing them from executing their own jab. After landing successful jabs, Usyk may add a straight left to execute a classical 1-2 combination and cause damage. Occasionally, like Fury, Usyk transforms his jab into a lead hook, but the distinction is that he fights as a southpaw. He continuously moves towards the opponent's lead foot and acts as an ideal southpaw, compelling the opponent to fight on his terms. This is how Usyk defeated Joshua twice. Joshua didn't use his full potential, who put a lot of pressure and tried to outbox Usyk, which is not the way to defeat a boxer. The simple boxing fundamentals are that you box against a fighter and you fight against a boxer. You don't try to outbox a boxer or brawl with a fighter. You play to your advantages, and that's where AJ went wrong. Usyk's constant lateral movement threw Joshua off, and Usyk took advantage of this by almost being behind Joshua with his pivots. Joshua's only exceptional skill was landing body shots, but Usyk showed how he adapts by changing his stance and covering his body with his elbow. Usyk has a unique approach for every opponent, which is why he behaves differently in each fight. His actions are more thoroughly considered than Fury's. Nevertheless, Usyk is not perfect. Weak punches are not only bad for the promotion, but also in the ring. Oleksandr fights in the heavyweight division. His opponents can take these punches much easier. Now his opposition knows that they can just go ahead and not be afraid of Usyk's strikes. He struggles with clinching and physical limitations. Usyk is much smaller than all his opponents, and Chisora easily used his weight to land uppercuts from the clinch. As a result, there is no doubt that Tyson Fury will capitalize on these issues to the fullest. Prediction. The problem for Fury in this fight is that his entire style is built on him always being the faster and more agile boxer, even despite his weight. And Oleksandr Usyk is definitely faster than Tyson, more enduring, and he will land more punches than anyone in his weight class. For Usyk, the problem lies in the fact that Tyson is much taller and heavier than him, and such a weight difference is a huge advantage that Fury will definitely use to the maximum when he clutches Usyk in a clinch. It's a closely matched fight, with both boxers possessing the highest level of boxing skills in the sport today. However, I predict that Usyk will win by decision due to his speed and footwork. He will circle around Tyson and actively target his body, as Otto Wallen did.